Hello everyone, today we will be creating the cape for this outfit, which is the concluding part of this series. Please stay tuned. To begin, place 15 inches on fold on your pattern and make a 2-inch border line. Mark 8 inches for the cape length, a neck width of 3 inches and a neck depth of 3 inches for the neckline. Slope the shoulder by 2 inches and rule the shoulder line. Mark half the actual shoulder measurement, then add the shoulder extension as shown and create a curve. From the armhole line, mark 4 inches and draw a curve connecting it to the shoulder tip. Mark the neck depth as 1 inch and create a curve for this. Cut out the back neckline and shoulder first, then place the cut out pattern on another paper to trace and cut the back hemline. I slanted the center back by 1 inch, but I recommend skipping this step. Cut out the front neckline and trace the hemline. Open up the pattern and draw the traced line, then rule the center line. From the center neckline, measure 2 inches to the left and draw a straight line from this point. Redraw the hem as shown. This section will form one part of the cape. For the other part, move 2 inches to the right from the center neckline and rule another straight line. Label these two sections as Cape 1 and Cape 2. Place the patterned cape onto another sheet of pattern paper and trace one section. Proceed to cut out the pattern. Rule out the traced lines to complete the new pattern, then cut it out. Cut out the other section of the cape from the original pattern. I decided to extend the hem by an additional 2 inches, bringing the total cape length to 12 inches instead of 8. Once adjusted, cut out the extended pattern. Here are the completed pattern pieces, overlapped in position. Attach the back pattern ready for use. The patterns have been transferred to fabric with 0.5 inch seam allowance added all around. Starting with the shorter cape, make a slight adjustment. Curve from the middle to the hem as shown, adding 0.5 inch seam allowance while cutting around the neckline. Assemble the cape pieces matching the neckline and fold at the adjoining points to make a notch for easy alignment during sewing. Measure the neckline. The front neckline measures 9.5 inches. The back neckline measures 4 inches. Now create the collar using a fresh pattern paper. Draw a baseline and mark half of 9.5 inches for the front neckline and half of the back neckline. The collar height is 1.5 inches. Connect these points to form a rectangle. From the hem, go up by 1 inch on the center front. Mark another 1.5 inches height for the collar. Go in by 1 inch at the center front and connect the points. Cut out the collar pattern. Place a fabric on 4 folds. Position the collar pattern on it and cut out, leaving 0.5 inch seam allowance all around. Here is the collar piece cut out. Trim the hem slightly to achieve a smooth curve. For the rose detail, place a 5 by 5 inch fabric on 4 folds. Curve the edges to form a circle. Cut another piece for the lining. Place a fabric on bias 18 inches in length, marking and cutting it out. We are to sew along the straight edge, then scrunch it to form a rose. which will be attached to the base. We go ahead now to assemble the pieces. Start with the lining piece, ensuring the shoulders of the front and back have been joined. Bring in the main fabric pieces with the shoulders joined as well, placing the corresponding lining and main fabric right sides together. For the longer cape, sew the straight edge first with hemming gum by 0.5 inch. Sew the hem all the way through to the center back by 0.5 inch. Finish by sewing the center back line. Be sure to snip the corners and notch as demonstrated. For the shorter cape, match the lining and main fabric at the neckline. Sew starting from the notch down, then sew along the hem. Finally, sew the center back. Snip pointy corners and trim any excess seam allowance if necessary. Bring in the second part of the cape, arrange it as shown and align the notches. Prepare the collar by attaching interfacing to one collar piece. Sew along the upper edge with a 0.5 inch seam allowance. Then sew both end points. Notch the corners and trim the seam allowances to reduce bulkiness. To enhance the finish, I would recommend you add hemming gum as demonstrated. The cape pieces has been pressed. Align the notches on both sections. Fold one hem of the collar in by 0.5 inch and press it. Place the collar on fold and notch the center. Top stitch the neckline of the cape to keep it sturdy. Locate the center and place the right side of the collar against the wrong side of the cape. Sew from the center to the center back on one side, then repeat for the other side. Notch along the seam line when done. Tuck in the folded hem of the collar by 0.5 inch as shown and top stitch close to the edge. The collar is now securely attached. To create buttonholes, cut double loops from the yard and place them on the wrong side of the collar. Secure them with a top stitch. On the opposite collar side, attach buttons of your choice. Mark 4 to 4.5 inches from the side of the cape for the placement of appliques. For the rows, place the bias fabric with the right sides together and sew along the straight edge with a 0.5 inch seam allowance. Trim the excess seam allowance and turn it inside out, using a tool to push out the pointy end for a sharp finish. Sew a basting stitch around the hem, then gently pull the thread to create gathers. Top stitch the gathered fabric onto the base circumference to secure it. Iron flat the fabric, then twist or scrunch it to form a rose shape. Hand stitch the rose arrangement in place to hold its form. To cover the wrong side, place another fabric base on top of the rose with the right sides together. Sew along the flatter edges with a 0.5 inch seam allowance. Leaving a small opening for turning. Turn the piece inside out through the opening. Tuck in the opened edges by 0.5 inch. Top stitch to close. Come in with the appliqued cape and carefully place the rose on the left side for a polished finish. And with that, this project is complete. If this tutorial was helpful, please drop a comment, like, share and subscribe. Don't forget to turn on your notification bell for more videos. Bye.